Microsoft Surface Neo. It is one of the most interesting launches as far as various products that were introduced in the Microsoft Surface event are considered, and for all the precise, good and incredible reasons. So let's go ahead and talk about Microsoft Surface Neo. Before we go ahead and talk about that, we have covered all the devices of Microsoft Surface event in a separate video where we gave a strategic insight into all of these devices. So if that is something that you are interested in, I will leave the link to the video down in the description section below. But in this video, let's go in depth and understand what Microsoft Surface Neo is and what are the domains of activities and productivity that this device is promising to cover. So if that is something that you are interested in, stay tuned. So let's start our talk about Microsoft Surface Neo with the help of specs first. Well, truth be told, there are not a lot of things that are known about the specs except for the fact that this device will be featuring two 9-inch displays connected to each other with the help of a 360-degree hinge. These devices will be capable of running independently and also in conjugation with each other. These devices will feature Intel's latest and greatest Lakefield processors, but that is it as far as specifications, internal specifications and what we are seeing from the outside are concerned. So let's not go ahead and talk too much about it. We will make it clear, we will see what are the specs this device is going to feature on as time progresses, because these devices won't come till the fall of 2020, but that is not we should go ahead with in this video. So what are we going to talk about in this video? We, instead of the specifications, are going to talk about how there are different checkboxes that Microsoft needs to check in order for this device to be gracefully accepted by people. Why am I calling this graceful acceptance? Because just pay attention to your own mind. Our minds are very easily conditioned to security and comfort. Whatever we are getting used to, we don't want to leave it, right? So that is the nature of our minds, and this gets translated into everything that we do and everything that we adopt. So as far as the time that we are living in is considered, people are very used to Android devices or iOS devices because of the very environment of the very ecosystem that it has created. So Microsoft is now taking this brave step to introduce something which is very new in an already established ecosystem, as it were. So what are the various checkboxes that Microsoft needs to check in order for people to move from this ecosystem to this new evolving ecosystem? Well, as far as an intelligent action is considered, we should always be open to something which is new, right? But that is not the only aspect or only dimension that people will use to make a switch from their comfortable environment to a new territory. There are certain things that Microsoft has to do from its side. So let's talk about all of those things. First, let's start with Microsoft Windows 10X. So what is Windows 10X? If you want to know what Windows 10X in its depth, you must go ahead and check out this video that I created, wherein we discussed the Windows 10X dimension of Microsoft in great details. But to summarize it in a short sense, Microsoft Windows 10X is just a modular version of Windows 10 created specifically for foldable devices and PCs. So Microsoft Surface Neo is going to feature Microsoft Windows 10X, and Windows 10X is specifically created for foldable devices because Microsoft says it wants to create unique experiences associated specifically with these foldable devices, such as using one app on one screen and using another app such as a note making app to make notes about whatever you are seeing in this first screen. So in conjugation or separately, there are unique experiences that can be created as far as this device is considered, and that is what Microsoft is focusing with the help of Windows 10X. So what is it that makes Android what it is or iOS what it is? Well, the app environment. The very reason why you use Android so much is because there is an app for everything. Why you use iOS so much or iOS powered devices so much? Because there is an app for everything. So if the app marketplace is compared, when these two huge marketplaces are kept in place with the Microsoft App Store, they have an edge. So the first challenge or the first checkbox that Microsoft needs to take care of is introduced app into the Microsoft's already existing app environment that take care of these two screens that are being introduced. Apart from that, Microsoft also needs to update the already existing app in the App Store to work with these dual screen devices. And the third thing that Microsoft needs to do is just upgrade the environment that people are already used to in their desktop, because every house has a Windows PC now. So people are already very comfortable with a Windows environment working on their desktop. So Microsoft very intelligently needs to upgrade to work with these dual screen devices as well. So if you approach this whole app marketplace with this kind of understanding, it will be very easy for people to switch from their comfortable Android experience or iOS experience to this new dual screen Windows experience. So once a very good, a very stable Windows 10X get coupled with this upgraded app environment, this will be one incentive for people to switch from their conditioned use of Android to this new Windows environment, which will not be new at all, because you are just upgrading the already very used to environment that people have been using from a large amount of time. The next thing that Microsoft might be looking into is the hardware aspects. Well, from the first looks of it, I think those dimensions are taken care of, because this device will be coming with a separate keyboard which will not be carrying any kinds of trackpad. Yes, the Surface devices that Microsoft has introduced in the past had a keyboard accessory which had the trackpad associated with itself, but this time there is no trackpad. What is indeed going to happen is when you intelligently slide this keyboard on one of the screens, depending on where you keep the keyboard, the screen on which the keyboard is kept is going to behave differently. So if you keep the keyboard on the top side of the screen, which is close to the hinge, the bottom part of the screen, which is not covered by the keyboard, will get converted into trackpad. How about that? So Microsoft is saying that people will be very used to this kind of glass trackpad, because there are already glass trackpad that are existing and people are getting used to it. So this is not something new, or this will not pose any kinds of resistance to be introduced in the usability of people, because people are already very used to using this kind of technology. And on the other hand, if you keep your keyboard on the far end side of the screen, which is away from the hinge, the space that is now created on the top of the screen will reveal itself with what Microsoft calls as Wonder Bar. Wonder Bar, which is very similar to Touch Bar in Apple devices, but is relatively large, and this larger space can be used to access emojis if you want, if you're writing messages, or it can also be used to create separate screens for different apps that you might be using, so that you can enhance productivity, or you may even watch YouTube videos or browse memes or whatever. So the whole productivity aspect of Wonder Bar is much greater than the Touch Bar, and that is also something appealing from the hardware side. So hardware dimensions checked, display checked, design checked, panes presentation skill to make the device tempting checked, and if the app environment is also checked, what is the final check that Microsoft needs to do in order for this device to be gracefully accepted by the masses? And the precise thing that Microsoft is using as far as this dimension is considered is productivity. Let's be honest, Microsoft is not creating gaming machines, right? They are not focusing on making these devices power hogs, but they want to deliver sufficient power in these devices so that this device becomes an invariable need for almost all the people that it is trying to present these devices to. So if we pay attention to what is happening right now, people's offices are now getting converted from physical spaces to these tiny spaces we call laptops. So if Microsoft can take care of this domain of people with some room for light gaming and stuff like that, Microsoft is already covering a wide variety of audience, and it is providing this hook called productivity that can entice them into accepting this newly created environment and use it to fulfill all their needs. So that is also something it seems Microsoft is checking. Then let's move ahead and talk about the last thing that Microsoft is again doing very intelligently to make these things much more appealing. So whenever you want to, let's take the example of if you're trying to create some kind of food with the help of raw materials. So let's say if I give you some dough, right, flour, if I give you some dough or flour and I tell you, tell me what should I create with this, every single one of you is going to suggest me a different kind of recipe. You will tell me you may make croissant with this, you may make bread with this, you can make chapati or rotis with this. So there are a lot of different ideas, lot of different aspects that can come out depending on the individual person to which the dough is presented. But if you clearly say, I want to make bread out of this dough, suggest me what you want out of this bread. So someone can suggest, go ahead, make a sweet bread with this, go ahead, make a different kind of bread with this. I'm not a cook, man. And anyways, so you get the point, right? So Microsoft is not asking us what to create. It is already put forth an idea in the form of separate dual screen devices. Now it wants the developers to come in and make use of things that are already available or create something new very specific to the bread that it has shown you. Does that make sense? So it is saying, okay, this is what you want to work with, and now we are giving you this time from 2019, where the device was released, till the fall of 2020 to create build experiences for this specific dough. Not dough, for this specific bread. Microsoft Surface Neo. Incredible. You present something, then you look into feedbacks as to how to enhance this, is already checking the checkbox that we were discussing about. So guys, this was all as far as the dimensions that Microsoft needs to take care of as far as Microsoft Surface Neo is considered. I hope you learned something new today, and I also hope that this discussion might have sparked certain insights into you as to what your needs might be and whether Microsoft Surface Neo is going to fulfill your need. And if that is something that have sparked in you, I request you to go ahead and comment that out in the comment section below as to how this new device may fulfill some of your need and how you are looking forward to getting your hands on that. With that said, guys, if you want to watch a video in which I covered all the Microsoft's event entirely in a panoramic sense, go ahead, check the link out in the description below. I will also leave a link here. I will also leave a link to the Microsoft Windows 10X video that I made in the description box as well. So that was it as far as Microsoft Surface Neo is considered. I will make it a point to update you regularly as to how the proceedings are happening as far as Neo is considered. In the next video, we are going to talk about another Microsoft Surface device that was released in the Microsoft Surface event. But till then, I hope you take great care of yourselves, and I'm going to see you again very soon. Namaskaram.